So let's go ahead and implement that form, and I'll show you how to support posting to a service. So back in our form, instead of just sending it to a new URL, we're going to actually want to post it to the server using the same URL. So when you interact with the server, there's a number of things that are involved, and as consumers of the web, we think about just the URL, the Microsoft.com, the Apple.com that you're putting in the browser as being, really that's all the request is. But the request includes a verb. So you have an address, but what do you want to do when you get to that address? Most of the time what we do on sites are gets. Please get me this web page, and then get me this script, and get me this style sheet. Those are using the verb get to return some data. But if we want to create a new object on the server, we would choose method post. Post says, I'm going to send you some data, and you're going to create some new object with it. In our case, that object's going to just be an email, but it's still some arbitrary object. So we're going to post that to the server. How do we actually make this work? Let's go back and look at our controller, and let's create a new contact method. But in our case, we want this to be a post. We want to be able to get information being sent to us. And so we do that by adding an attribute that is HTTP with the name of the verb. And in this case, that's going to be a post. So it knows to map this to when something posts to the server, try to use this method to fulfill it. But of course, we're sending some data because it's a post. And so what do you think that data is going to be? It's going to be an instance of the contact view model. We bring in the namespace, and I will just call it model for now. And for now, I'm just going to return that view. We're going to show that view again, but I really want you to see what's happening. I'm going to set a breakpoint inside of Visual Studio, and let's go ahead and debug this. When I send this message, I fulfilled all the requirements, so it's not going to show me the errors unless there is a problem. And so here we've been called into posting to contact with some data, but our model has mapped the properties we were sending down into it into these individual items. The email object was mapped to the email property. So there's this bidirectional relationship here. I use the model class in the view to say this is the thing we're trying to create a form to accept. And so that the name of the properties on here, the name, email, and message, means that when we send it back into the server, here we're actually getting good data back. So the goal of what we're seeing here is to allow us to have that interaction with the user, create a contact object, send it to us, we're getting it here in code. Now we need to actually do something with it. We need to build that message. For that, we're going to use a service and understand how the dependency injection container stuff works. Let's do that next, and then we'll be able to implement the contact page.